Have everything right. I do. Hold on a second. I gotta get rid of this music that's playing here. All right. Okay, welcome into the High Noon Stream. I'm Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. What is the High Noon Stream? Well, I'll tell you. This show is specifically and strategically, I might add, designed to bring you up to speed on all the things that you need to know today. Now, I'm not talking about the divisive political stuff that you can get anywhere else. You want to listen to AM talk radio and, hear red people yell at blue people and all that, fine, you do you, go ahead. This is all the other stuff. This is all the other stuff that's going on in the world that has nothing to do with American politics. Although sometimes we do jump into that, but we dip a toe. Just dip a toe. Monday through Friday, we do this show. I like to think of it as a cheat sheet for you. It's just a quick little, here's how it works. I give you the topic that's trending or making a headline or whatever. I tell you why it's trending or making a headline. And then I give you a quick hot take. And then we move on to the next one. And I say, hey, people are also talking about this. And then we talk about that. That's how the show works. Every Monday through Friday, that's what we do. We also do a second stream, however, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We call that one Pugs and Parker because it's me and James Parker. Myself and James Parker. We chopping it up every night at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, let's, we got all that out of the way, blah, blah, blah. Welcome in. Come on, everybody, sit down. I'll get the chat room going. Let me make sure I got the chat room up. I now have to, somebody say something in the chat room right now so I can see where we're at. There we go. Hey, I'm fixing it, Byron. See, Byron's in the chat room. Byron's like, bah! We got no chat again. I'll get you set up, brother. I get you. Don't worry about it. We'll get it taken care of. All right, Clovis is here. Thank you, Clovis. Appreciate it. There's Leslie. All right, everybody, pull up your chair. Get comfortable. Chat room is open for business. I got the screen done right, so now you can see each other. Okay, so I just go out and say it. I'm obsessed with NFL free agency. Now, I know we are not doing a sports show, but today it's popping off, people. And just so you know, I'm going to be slightly distracted because one of my windows on my computer is opened up to the Pat McAfee show. And on the Pat McAfee show in the next couple of minutes, they'll be bringing out Aaron Rodgers. And it is basically assumed that this is where Aaron Rodgers is going to announce whether or not he's going to retire or he's going to go to the New York Jets. Because I'll tell you, the vibe, the energy that he's getting out of Green Bay for basically the second year in a row now is, yeah, just retire or go to the Jets. Come on, Aaron. Your options are just retire or go to the Jets. They don't want him back. I think the fans do, maybe the players do. But management in Green Bay, they're just like, okay, it's time to move on. He's such a pain in the ass. He's just such a prima donna. Anyway. So I got one eye on the Pat McAfee show, which, by the way, let's check out. Let's see what he's got. How many people we got? Oh, my God. Yeah, I'll say McAfee's got people are just assuming that this is where Aaron Rodgers is going to make his announcement. Pat McAfee has been on now for just a couple of minutes. He just signed on. He's got almost 500,000 people viewing. Just readjusted. 400. No, I'm sorry. That's small. Let me see that again. He's got 392,000 people viewing right now. Oh, here's Aaron. Hold on. Let's see what's Aaron going to say. Hold on. We'll get into the regular show, but I just want to see.
Hold on. How are you doing? Where are you right now? And what's up, brother?
Yeah, I'm in Southern California. I've been down here for a little bit now. I'm not right out of the darkness. I was in the darkness for 5 days, 4 nights in the end of February. So we're a little bit past that now. We're moving to the middle of March now.
Ides of March, if you will. The Ides of March.
Ides of March, yes, definitely. Yes.
Okay, well, okay, good.
Ides of March long ago, but
Toga, right? A lot of toga parties.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You bet.
People are dancing, having a good time.
Sure.
Yep.
Brute,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot has happened since you come back into the light, pal. How are you with it all?
I've been good. The darkness gave me a lot of time to contemplate everything. I talked about a lot of it on Aubrey's podcast, which was a few days after I came out. But it was a great reset for me, for my body, for my mind, and maybe a little bit longer.
He
Than
went into one
needed.
of
I
those
felt like
darkness
by the
retreat
time I got to the
things where
fourth
he
day, I was like, all
just
right,
did a
I'm
bunch
ready,
of mushrooms,
ready to come out of it.
Okay.
sat in a
we wondered
closet
about
for
that.
4
It was
days.
That's an extended period of time.
Oh yeah, long time.
Yeah.
4 days, Jesus. 5 days, you said?
Well, parts of 5 days. It's 3 day come out the morning of the 5th day. So.
Okay, so at what point did you forget what day it was? Or did you know what day it was? Is there some sort of schedule?
Well, food that came at 6 o'clock every day, so I had an idea of where I was. You're kind of counting down the nights. Once you get to the third night, you're like, okay, I have one more night of this after this night. So that's kind of.
All right. I don't know. I think they're going to small talk for a while here. But I am. Hold on. Maybe if I can put the captions on, if I do captions, then I'll be able to sort of like keep an eye on it. You people in the chat room, keep an eye on it too. Because I don't want to hear about, I don't want to hear Aaron Rodgers tripping ball stories for the first 40 minutes before we. It's not that big of a deal. Actually, it is. It's probably the biggest sports story in the country, in the country outside of Dallas, because there's an even bigger story happening right now in Dallas, and we'll get to that when we run through all the topics that are trending. All right, let's get into what today is. It is high noon for the 15th day of March, year of our Lord 2023. It's the Ides of March, don't you know? The Ides of March are upon thee. March 15th is the 74th day of the year. There are 291 days remaining, so get those New Year's Eve plans started. I think I have identified this moment right here in the show where the hiccups begin. I have. I've been breaking this down. I've been watching videos. I've been watching the replays and trying to figure out what exactly happens, what causes the hiccups. And I think it's this transition. After I say, get those New Year's Eve, from there into the historical events. Because typically what I will do is I will stop and I will take a drink. So I'm going to do that now, and we'll see if it's followed by hiccups. I'm doing whatever I can to stop this plague of hiccups that befalls me every day around 12:15. Okay, a little coffee. My coffee cup, look at it, it's stained. Spilled coffee all over it this morning. All right, let's see here. On this day in the year 44 BC, let's go all the way back. Guess what this is? That's right, I told you, it's the Ides of March. 44 BC, the assassination of Julius Caesar takes place. Today will forever be known as the Ides of March. That's actually not true, though. It's not the Ides of March because Caesar was assassinated. It had been known as the Ides of March for centuries, for however long. Here's the deal with the Ides of March. So in the Roman Julius Caesar times, their god was Jupiter. They were still on the old, Jupiter system. They hadn't gone full Catholic yet, or Christian, or whatever the Italians. Catholic, I guess. So the Ides of the month are the middle of the month when supposedly Jupiter is at her most bright. And it's supposed to be, if Jupiter is your goddess or your god, then you want her most pleased. So the 15th, the middle of the month, had been known as the time when Jupiter was most pleased, and it became known as the Ides of the month. Now, March in particular, the Ides of March on the 15th, long before Caesar was assassinated, was known as the day that you made good on your debts. So it was a day where if you owed people money on March 15th, you paid them on the Ides of March. That's in that tradition, in that, I don't know, Roman, we believe in Jupiter and Zeus, not Zeus, that's Greek. You know what I'm saying? They believed in all that stuff. So anyway, it's just a lot of people think that the Ides of March called the Ides of March because Caesar's assassin. No, it was a thing long before. In fact, they're saying that Caesar was assassinated on the Ides of March specifically because it was a debt being repaid. On this day in 1820, Maine. That's right, we're going from 44 BC to 1820. Ain't nothing worth noted happening between 44 BC and 1820. Maine is admitted as the 23rd U.S. state. Doing all right over there, Maine? We forget about you. You're one of those forgettable states. Maine is one of those forgettable states unless you have a friend who's ever been to Maine. Ugh. Maine. Nobody thinks about Maine until they have that one friend who goes to Maine. Maine is the most beautiful place on earth. Everybody says that. Maine is the greatest secret in America. Well, all right. And ain't really done much since 1820 on this day when they were admitted as the 23rd U.S. state. On this day in 1917, Tsar Nicholas II of Russia abdicates the Russian throne, ending 304 years of the Romanov dynasty. And of course, as we all know, Tsar Nicholas and his family went off into exile and lived happily ever after. That's where the Kardashians came from. They're from that line. No, of course not. They were all slaughtered. They were slaughtered, the entire Romanov family. 1960, unless, you believe the stories about Anastasia, which I do not. On this day in 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson, responding to the Selma crisis, tells U.S. Congress, we shall overcome, while advocating the Voting Rights Act. That was on this day in 1965. On this day in 1978, Somalia and Ethiopia signed a truce to end the Ethiopian-Somali War. Ethiopia, I don't remember this. When was this? 1978. Okay. I can be excused for not knowing Geo-Afrikaner politics of the 70s. I was only like 8, so. I didn't know Somalia and Ethiopia went to war, but that's interesting to me because those are the two countries that I think of where there's no food. So it's like, I imagine the truce happened when one side, made an incursion to the other side, looked around and went, there's no food here either. And they went, why are we fighting? You don't have anything we want. You got food? And they're like, no, we don't got food. You got food? Like, no, that's why we're fighting. We don't have food. On this day in 1990, Mikhail Gorbachev is elected as the first president of the Soviet Union. Oh, Mick. Wine stain on his head. He had that birthmark on his head. Cold War, 1991. The treaty on the final settlement with respect to Germany. I like how that's written. It's like it's written by an old Jewish attorney. Because it's literally known as Treaty on the Final Settlement with respect to Germany. It's basically the thing that reunified Germany. There was East Germany and West Germany. But this gave Germany all their power back and said, okay, Germany, you're your own thing now and go. And Germany became a thing again. On this day in 2019, 51 people are killed in the Christchurch mosque shootings. Remember this fucking psycho? This is the dude that live streamed it. I watched. I can't say that I watched the live stream. I don't think that's because I do remember when this was going on. And when it was an active manhunt and all that, and he was posting videos. So I watched videos as they were posting. Oh, my God. On this day in 2019, approximately 1.4 million young people in 123 countries go on strike to protest climate change. On this day in 2019. 1.4. Do you guys remember? Oh, my God. Remember back in 2019 when 1.4 million teenagers stayed on the couch and didn't go do stuff? They just stayed home and played video games all day, that one day in 2019. And then they fixed climate change. Remember? You got to do that shit once a week if you want it to actually work. This kind of stuff bothers me. You see this a lot. All these people gathered today on the mall in Washington, D.C. Since the beginning of these things, aside from, I will say there is an exception. Union struggles, like union strike lines and stuff. I make a distinction between those kinds of demonstrations and just, the pussy hat demonstration. You know what I mean? Demonstrations in this country, certainly since the 1960s, certainly since the Vietnam War protests, demonstrations in this country have become less about the actual issue at hand and more just about young people getting out and partying. That's really all they are. People treat demonstrations today the way they might treat a St. Patrick's Day parade. Are you going to the demonstration? Are we pre-gaming? Seriously, I'm not kidding. Now, these are great issues. Some I support, some I do not. I think that public demonstrations are important, but I think that they're absolutely frivolous the way that they've been used now by this generation who is able to assemble in ways quicker and more effectively than ever before through the use of social media, through the use of all these, they just frivolous demonstrations. Let's not kid ourselves. For a great many of the 1 million who gathered, for a great many of those people, it's a social event. It's a party. We're going to get together. They're all drinking. They're all having fun. They're singing. They're partying. I mean, and by the way, I'm not letting the January 6th hooligans off the list here either. Those people were also, I'd say 90% of those people there were just there to hang out with people who are angry like they are. Woo! We're going to be angry together. It's going to be, this is just my long way of saying that I think that most demonstrations as they appear in 2023 are just absolute bullshit. And yeah, frivolous for the most part. Birthdays. Let's talk about some birthdays. It doesn't mean that we should stop doing them. It just means that kids need to get more serious about this shit. This isn't an opportunity for you to meet that hot hippie girl, okay? It's not. Birthdays. Born on this day in 1767. Andrew Jackson, American general, judge, politician, and 7th president of these here United States of America, Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson's one of these complicated figures in American history where he was popular. Oh, I love that Andrew Jackson. But by any human measurement, he was a monster. He exterminated Native Americans like they were cockroaches in a Brooklyn kitchen at 3 a.m. when the lights suddenly get flipped on. He just had no regard for human life. So when you're looking at the full measure of the man, 7th president of the United States, Andrew Jackson, you have to keep in mind that he didn't have a high regard for human life. And does that affect your moral evaluation of him? It does me. Born on this day in 1916, Harry James. Harry James is cool because Harry James was a big band dude. He was popular. Harry James was very popular. Not really. I don't know that Harry James has stood the test of time, but in his day, Harry James was very popular. And part of the reason Harry James was super popular was because he was a big band guy. Harry James was all right, and he played the trumpet, and he had this whole big band behind him, and he kind of conducted the band, and then he'd do his trumpet solos and all that. And then he probably had some pretty women back there going, you know what I mean? Like some girls doing background. But then, he had crooners. He would bring crooners out. And Harry James had a crooner. Oh, he had this kid. He had this 19-year-old, blue-eyed, handsome Italian kid from New Jersey. Whatever happened to that kid? That's right. Harry James was where Frank Sinatra began. Frank Sinatra was Harry James' lead singer. Born on this day in 1919. Here's a fun one. Here's a fun birthday. 1919. We're going to go way back. This dude. Let me tell you about this dude. This dude's one of my favorites. You know that I have one of these fetishes for what I call the that guy actor genre. I love the that guy actor, right? So Lawrence Tierney was born on this day in 1919. I think where I first became aware of Lawrence Tierney was as Joe in Reservoir Dogs. If you saw Reservoir Dogs, Lawrence Tierney was Joe. Lawrence Tierney was the boss, the guy who put the crew together. He was Chris Penn, who played nice guy Eddie. Joe was Chris Penn's dad. It was Joe Cabot and Eddie Cabot, nice guy Eddie. They were the ones that put together the crew that perpetrated the heist in Reservoir Dogs. Oh, he was great. Lawrence Tierney. He's this guy. Here, let you see who he is here. Maybe you get a better look at him. So there he is from Reservoir Dogs. Did the picture get better? Yeah, it did. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Just, old school 1970s, 1980s, tough guy, old man, tough guy, old man who you don't want to cross. He's just like a badass Lawrence Tierney was. Look at him. He's just a glorious son of a bitch. That's what he is. Look at this guy. He's a son of a bitch. Born on this day in 1918. Anyway, I wanted to, so a lot of people don't know a whole lot about Lawrence Tierney. And I do, because I'm a fan, because I'm like a fan. What can I tell you? He's got a very, very interesting, man, if Lawrence Tierney was, you know who Lawrence Tierney is? Lawrence Tierney is the Flash. You know that kid? Who's that kid? Who's the kid who plays the Flash? He's always in trouble. I mean, Lawrence Tierney would never be gender fluid like the Flash guy is. But, you know, always getting in trouble, that was Lawrence Tierney. When Lawrence Tierney, the other night I talked about Lindsay Lohan and about how, you'll see, Lindsay Lohan's going to make a comeback. Might be in 10 years, might be in 15, but she's going to be like in her 50s winning an Oscar. You'll see, I said it here. And then I used as an example of why I believe it's possible for Lindsay Lohan to come back, I used Robert Downey Jr. Nobody thought Robert Downey Jr. was ever going to come back. Well, let me tell you something, man. Lawrence Tierney was a movie actor in the 40s and in the 50s, and he was in trouble all the time. Okay? Look, let me run down some of the things that dude did. Tierney's numerous arrests for being drunk and disorderly and jail terms for assault on civilians and lawmen alike took a toll on his career. He was an admitted alcoholic who tried to get sober in 1982 after having a mild stroke, once observing during a 1987 interview that he threw away about 7 careers through drinking. Between 1944 and 1951, Lawrence Tierney was arrested over 12 times in Los Angeles for brawling, frequently for drunkenness, which included ripping a public telephone off a wall in a bar, hitting a waiter in the face with a sugar bowl for refusing to serve him any more drinks, and attempting to choke to death a taxi driver. He was jailed for 3 months for brawling in May of 1947 and again in June of 1949, and drunkenness in January of 1949 and October of 1950. His legal troubles included a 90-day jail sentence, which he served from August to October in 1951 for breaking a New York college student's jaw during another brawl. He served 66 days in the city jail of Chicago from March to May of 1952 for drunk and disorderly charges. In October of 51, he was sent to a mental hospital in Chicago after being found disheveled and living in a church. In New York City, he was arrested for assault and battery of a barroom pianist in October of 1953, and again in October of 1958 for resisting arrest and assaulting 2 police officers in another brawl. At the time of his October 1958 arrest outside a Manhattan bar, the New York Times reported that he had been arrested 6 times in California and 5 times in New York City, all on drunken, disorderly, and brawling charges. In January of 1973, he was stabbed in a bar fight on the west side of Manhattan. 2 years later, Tierney was questioned by New York City police in connection with the apparent suicide of a 24-year-old woman who had jumped from the window of her high-rise apartment. Tierney told police, "I'd just gotten there, and she just went straight out the window." He's like, I walk in and she jumps out. I ain't done nothing. Whatever. This is like the Michael Irvin thing, dude. You don't get the benefit of the doubt, Lawrence Tierney. Your history, we're looking at you don't get the benefit of the doubt here, dude. We're gonna talk a little more about this. I just gotten there and she jumped out the window. He was never arrested or charged with the young woman's death. The apparent suicide closely resembles the death of Rosa, played by Aline Roberts in his 1951 film The Hoodlum. Tierney's Vincent Lubbock, the hoodlum in the title, is suspected of driving Rosa into throwing herself off. So he basically killed a woman. In July of 1991, during the filming of Reservoir Dogs, where he played Joe. So during the filming of Reservoir Dogs. In July of 1991, during the filming of... We're talking about Lawrence Tierney. Oh, wait a second. I should get rid of the Aaron Rodgers announcement thing. We could bring that back. In July of 1991, during the filming of Reservoir Dogs, Lawrence Tierney shot at his nephew in a drunken rage at his Hollywood home and was arrested and jailed. He was released for a day from the jail in order to continue filming Reservoir Dogs, as recounted by director Quentin Tarantino. All right. I wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk about Lawrence Tierney because he's one of my favorites. He's a complete train wreck of a man who Hollywood didn't care. The dude made hundreds of movies. He just kept getting cast in movies. He's basically like Danny. Who's the Hispanic guy who always plays like Mexican gang leaders? Danny. He's big. He's ripped. Can't think of his name. Danny whatever. The way you think that Danny guy is in real life is an act. That Danny guy's an act. He's a nice guy. It's an act. That's what Lawrence Tierney was in real life. But he was also an actor. Like he was just born on this day in 1919. The great, the legendary, the iconic Lawrence Tierney. Born on this day in 1921, Madeline Pugh, American television writer and producer. She died in 2011. We talk about her today. International Women's Month, don't you know? We talk about Madeline Pugh because Madeline Pugh deserves... Look, if Madeline Pugh had been... She was a television writer. If Madeline Pugh had been a television writer in 2013 instead of 1960, she would be Shonda Rhimes. She would be Tina Fey. She wrote I Love Lucy. She was the writer. She was the person who wrote all of those legendary things for Lucille Ball and never got any credit for it. Because back then, one, writers didn't really get credit anyway. And secondly, if the writers were getting credit, it was the male writers. It wasn't a female writer. It wasn't Madeline Pugh. Madeline Pugh would go on to do all kinds of things in television. She is, in television circles, considered a Mount Rushmore type, one of the most important television writers in history. But I think to the greater public, we don't think of her in that way, and most people don't even know who Madeline Pugh is. But Madeline Pugh, again, if she was doing her thing now, she'd be Shonda Rhimes or Tina Fey or anybody else that you want to throw in there. Born on this day in 1933, RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, American lawyer and judge. Born on this day in 1935, Judd Hirsch, American actor. Man, Judd Hirsch. Okay, so first of all, obviously, he's Alex Rieger from Taxi. That's the first place I've known. That was the last time. Taxi was the last time I can recall Judd Hirsch not playing an old man. Now, I say this because Judd Hirsch is an old man, but he's not an old man. Judd Hirsch isn't like 100, is he? I mean, Judd Hirsch, I don't know. How old is Judd Hirsch? Well, he was born on this day. Maybe a little simple math could answer that. How old is he today? He's 88. Okay, so he's 88. So he is a little bit older than I thought. Judd Hirsch has been playing like older than he actually is. And I think it was by design. I think that he started like when he was 50, I think he started playing like 70. So you know who else did this? This is an acting strategy for guys who know that they're not going to be leading men and that they just want to work. Wilford Brimley did this. Abe Vigoda did this. They were actors who made conscious decisions to play older roles because they know that if they started playing 70 at 40, that they could play grandpa roles or older, authoritarian roles for like 40 years. They could, and that's what we saw with Abe Vigoda and Wilford Brimley. I think that's what Judd Hirsch did. I think Judd Hirsch has been playing, Judd Hirsch is 88 years old. Judd Hirsch has been playing 88-year-olds since 1995, right? Independence Day. Anyway, happy birthday, Judd Hirsch. I like you. Born on this day in 1940, Phil Lesh, bass player for the Grateful Dead. Born on this day in 1941, Mike Love, American singer-songwriter, primary vocalist for the Beach Boys. Also, uncle of Kevin Love, NBA superstar Kevin Love. Mike Love, is Mike Love his uncle or his cousin? I think it's his uncle. I don't know. Born on this day in 1943, the Iron Sheik, Iranian-American wrestler and actor. Don't know much about the old Sheik. I mean, I know the Iron Sheik because I grew up in the 80s, but... Born on this day in 1943, umbilical cousins with the Iron Sheik, Sly Stone. Sly Stone is a musical genius. Just ask anybody who knows about bands you've never heard of, and they will tell you that Sly Stone is a musical genius. Sly Stone is, again, not one of these mainstream guys. To a degree, he is. I mean, he's not a totally obscure person, but Sly Stone was somebody who was thought to be the next great thing for a period of time in music. And it's because he was brilliant. It's because he was doing things musically at a time when people weren't hearing those things. This was totally new sounds that he was creating, totally new kind of vibe that Sly Stone was creating. But, and don't I say this all the time, he was creating all of these amazing sounds, and he was an absolute genius in the studio, and he was a brilliant musician and all of this stuff because he was batshit crazy. He was Kanye level crazy. As a matter of fact, Kanye is sort of Sly Stone level crazy. Learn about Sly Stone. Sly Stone's career was completely upended because of his own mental issues. He could not perform. He would not perform. He suddenly had stage fright. He was taking all kinds of drugs. He was out of his mind on acid. Sly Stone, fascinating. Went to the Grammys a number of times. We used to cover the Grammys. And one of the big events at one of the Grammys that we went to, I don't know which Grammy show it was, but it was Sly Stone was going to come out. He was being honored by the Grammy board. And he was going to come out and he was going to play with his band. And it was a huge deal because he hadn't played in like 30 years. And it's like, he doesn't play anymore. Oh my God, he's still alive. You know, people were very excited. So the moment in the show arrives where Sly Stone, they come out and they start playing, they're playing. And he's behind the keyboards and everybody's watching him. I'm watching him because this is the big deal. This is like, oh my God, he's back after like 40 years. He plays like a couple of things on the keyboard and then turns and walks off stage. And I don't know what it looked like on TV, but there it was like, oh my God, he came out. He played like a couple of things. The band is cranking. The band is jamming. They're doing some funk stuff, and they're just cranking. He comes out, and he plays a couple of notes on the keyboard and then realizes, yeah, I was right the past 40 years. I don't like this. And he left. He just turned and left. I don't know. I have no idea whatever happened with that. I saw it with my own two eyes. Maybe he came back. I don't know. I think but he just left. We were like, what, he left? Is he coming back? Whatever. Born on this day in 1955, Dee Snider. He's not going to take it. No. He's not going to take it. He's not going to take it anymore. Twisted Sister, Dee Snider. Born on this day in 1959, Harold Baines. Harold. Harold's a baseball player, one of my all-time favorite baseball players, so he gets a birthday shout-out from me. Born on this day in 1963, Bret Michaels. Every rose has its thorn. That song was written at the Laundromat on Greenville Avenue. That's right. Every night has its dawn. Yeah. Just like every cowboy. See, maybe he wrote that cowboy line because he was sitting at a laundromat on Greenville Avenue. Anyway, happy birthday to you, Bret Michaels, born on this day in 1963. Born on this day in 1964, another guy, another one of these sons of bitches, one of these silver-spooned, given whatever they wanted. Daddy, I want to be a pop star. So Daddy was like, I'm going to make you a pop star. Rockwell, ladies and gentlemen, Rockwell. Remember Rockwell? Do you remember how there was a world where Rockwell didn't exist? And then one day Rockwell was everywhere. He was a new pop singer and he had this massive hit. And he must be important because Michael Jackson himself is singing backups on this new Rockwell song. I always feel like somebody's watching me. And then Rockwell was like, and it's only just a dream. Well, Remember that song? Do you know who Rockwell is? Rockwell is Berry Gordy's son. Berry Gordy, the founder of Motown Records, Michael Jackson's boss. Michael Jackson's boss's son is Rockwell. He would go on to run Motown Records. Actually, what is Rockwell doing now? He never did anything else. It was just like, Daddy, make me a pop star. And Daddy was like, okay. And so they made him famous. And he was like, Daddy, being a pop star is boring. And then so he stopped doing it. Kennedy William Gordy. That's Rockwell's real name. Kennedy William Gordy, better known by his stage name Rockwell. is an American singer. He is most well known for his hit 1984 single, Somebody's Watching Me, which featured Michael Jackson. Gordy is the son of Motown founder Berry Gordy. Other relatives include half-siblings Red Foo, that's right, Red Foo is also a Gordy, Rhonda Ross, and half-nephew Sky Blue. Kennedy Williams, early life. Kennedy William Gordy is the son of Motown founder and CEO Berry Gordy and Margaret Norton. His father named him Kennedy William after John F. Kennedy and William Smokey Robinson. Okay, whatever, we don't care. To avoid the appearance of nepotism, Gordy secured his record deal without his father's knowledge. I love these things. All right, without the appearance of nepotism. So you were just a guy off the street who got a record deal. And without your father knowing, Michael Jackson just decided to work with you. Okay, sure. Had nothing to do with you being a Gordy. I hate that. That's why I wanted to get to that line. Dude out here on these streets walking around acting like he made it in the music game without being the son of Berry Gordy. Stop it. Born on this day in 1968. Now here's a kid who earned it on his own raw good looks. Mark McGrath. I just wanna fly. Is that them? I don't know, man. Like, there was a group of bands that came out around the same time. Sugar Ray. And then there was like, what was the other one? Hey now, you're an all-star. It's like the exact same kind of music. And it's like, oh, I get it. So they're kind of trying to be alternative, but also that's a model, right? Mark McGrath is just a model. He's just some good-looking guy. They went, can you sing? If not, that's okay. We can change your voice. I don't know. Whatever. I saw Mark McGrath have sex with a girl who had a broken leg in a bathroom backstage at the United Center at Q101 Jingle Ball 98. That's right. I've never told that story before. Mark McGrath of Sugar Ray. He had sex with a girl with a broken leg in a bathroom. It's so weird. I mean, I didn't see it like I was watching porn. I just know what was going on when Mark McGrath took the girl with the broken leg into the bathroom. And then there were stories because the girl with the broken leg also happened to be a DJ at the station that I was working at. Except I swear to God, for any of you old, maybe a couple of you in the chat room, for any of you old Q101 people, I honestly don't remember who she was. I would know the name. Like if you said, oh, was it like old chick Q101? It wasn't Brooke Hunter. It was absolutely not Brooke Hunter. And it wasn't, was it Samantha James? Was that the other one? It wasn't Samantha James. It was another one. I don't remember. But if you came up with her name, I'd go, oh yeah, that's the girl who had the broken leg and had sex with Sugar Ray backstage. Anyway, that's rock and roll for you. Born on this day in 1972, Mark Hoppus of Blink-182. I like Blink-182. Born on this day in 1975, Eva Longoria, American actress. I don't like Eva Longoria. Eva Longoria is a bitch. She is a bitch, man. She really thinks she is something. She is. Born on this day in 1975, will.i.am, American rapper, producer, and actor. Isn't he a black eyed P? Isn't that what he is? Black-eyed. Is it Black Eyed Peas or is it Black Eyed Peas? Oh my God. Which is the restaurant? Which is the band? I'm trapped in hell. I don't know. We'll move on. Let's do some deaths. Dead on this day in 1966. There's really honestly, seriously, it's a good day not to die. There's like nobody important that died on. Abe Saperstein, 1966. He founded the Harlem Globetrotters. Whatever. And then in 2009, Ron Silver, American actor, director, and producer. Ron Silver did everything in the 1970s and 80s. You'd know him. He's a total that guy actor. He died, though. He died in, he died on this day in 2009. That's why we're talking about him. Ron Silver played Bruno on The West Wing. I don't know if you guys remember The West Wing. Played Bruno. He was an outside consultant that was always brought in. Anyway, Ron Silver, dead on this day in 2009. All right, that'll do it, man. We just went through all the events of today. We talked about some of the historical moments that have shaped previously on March the 15th. We've gone through all of those, and we've done the birthdays and we've done the deaths. So now here we are. Look at us. Now it's time. Let's run through all the things that are shaping the world today. Let's talk about everything that is happening in the world on this day, this edition of March the 15th. First and foremost, SVB is still trending. That's right. SVB. That is the Silicon Valley Bank. And banking in general, like there's a whole bunch of things trending about banks. Banks are in trouble. I don't know, right? You're not here for, serious breakdown. I'm not an economist. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Here's what I know. I know that there's a rich people bank in Silicon Valley that's scaring a whole bunch of rich people. And when rich people start to get scared, it ain't good for us. See, we don't know. The rich people notice it first, right? Like, we panic over shit like, the price of gas. Rich people don't panic over that. Rich people are like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. Rich people don't know how much gas costs. Rich people don't know how much milk costs. That's the shit that we panic over. And so we go through that for about 2 years, and we become conditioned to it. So now at this point, we're not as angry about inflation as we were, say, a year ago, because it's just a fact of life, and you can't stay angry all the time. But now the rich people are scared. Now the rich people are like, hold on. Which is not good for us. If you think it's bad for the rich people, that means it's gonna be super bad for us. Let's see here. Carl Icahn is also trending. Carl Icahn, he's a rich guy. A lot of rich people like him. They're all like, hey, Carl Icahn knows what he's talking about. So Carl Icahn is out with a quote. He says, you can't have the country feeling that it doesn't matter if they save. You could do whatever you want because the government will just step in and bail you out. Carl Icahn. Doesn't he sound like he's talking about poor people? Seriously, think about this. Isn't this what we have been? This is the narrative that certain political ideologies have been forcing upon us about poor people, that you have to impress upon poor people that they must save, that they can't just do whatever they want with their money, that the government isn't just going to come and bail you out, right? Welfare. That's what it's talking about. Carl Icahn is talking about rich people here. Yeah, he's talking about rich people and their multiple private jets and their yachts. And they're not saving. I love it. But isn't that the same thing, right? Isn't that we say about them welfare queens? You got to save your money. Can't just go out and buy a fancy Cadillac with that money you just got. Isn't that what we say? Oh, well, they're just doing it because the government's going to step in and bail them out. We got real problems when the government steps in and bails out us, we the people, the regular folk. Are we going to have the same problem when the government steps in and bails out all these rich people banks? Because that's what Carl Icahn is talking about. He's talking about rich people. You can't have a country feeling that it doesn't matter whether or not if they save. You can do whatever you want because the government will just step in and bail you out. He's talking about the people who mismanaged the Silicon Valley Bank and the entire banking system in this country. I find that very refreshing. I really do. But there are dominoes. There are dominoes that are falling. And guess what? Credit Suisse. That's right. Credit Suisse, one of the biggest global banks. They're having some issues today because of all of the banking, the unnecessary banking silliness that's occurring here in the United States with our system. Credit Suisse, their shares have absolutely tanked because Saudi Arabia apparently is why Credit Suisse has money. Saudi Arabia just has all of their money and it's propping up Credit Suisse, and Saudi Arabia is saying, yeah, we're done helping you guys. So now you've got this global superpower bank, Credit Suisse, who's like, they're running out of money. Why? Because they blew it. Because they blew all the money because they made bad investments and then gambled on the next investment. And then the next investment didn't turn out to be Uber. So they gambled all the losses there on the next one. And that one didn't turn out to be Uber either. And then they gambled it on the next one. This is what they did. And now Saudi Arabia is going, yeah, we're not giving you any more money. We're not. What do you mean? What do you mean? You're a Credit Suisse. What do you mean you're not a profitable institution? Well, on paper, with our projections, we seem that we're going to be incredibly fluid and profitable within the next 10 to 15. Yeah, that's on paper. That's banking bullshit. Meanwhile, you got some Arabs sitting there on like a giant pile of cash, and they're like, "This is real." You Credit Suisse, you're all just numbers and projections. You're all just Anyway, yeah, I'm telling you, these people who we have trusted with the economy of the world. Again, we trust experts. There are no experts. There are people who have more experience than others. But as far as anyone ever presents themselves as an expert to you on something, well, I'm an expert at Star Wars. Okay. Actually, that one might be true. If someone is going around claiming they're an expert at Star Wars, they very well might be. I'm talking about other things. I'm talking about pundits and prognosticators that you may see in various forms of media. I'm just so tired of the expert class. They know nothing. Whether it's weatherman, whether it's NFL scouts telling you who the best pick in the draft is going to be, or whether it's, economists or banking experts or financial analysts. They're all con men. They're all just faking it. $1 trillion defense budget. That's trending. Because apparently that's where we're headed. $1 trillion. The United States of America is getting ready to spend $1 trillion on our defense budget. Now, I hate that number. I hate the number 1 trillion. I hate the number 1 trillion because I don't know what that fucking number is. What is a trillion? I can't even. I mean, honestly, if you were to just give, what does $1 million in singles look like? Okay, so if I can somehow wrap my mind around what $1 million in singles look like, would it fill up this room? Maybe this little studio room. So what does $1 trillion look like? See, these numbers, they don't register. All we do is we're programmed to go, $1 trillion is way too much. But we don't even have any comprehension of what $1 trillion is. What could you do with $1 trillion? We've got $1 trillion that we're putting into the defense of the United States, which is important. And there does need to be a large sum of money dedicated for the defense of the United States. But $1 trillion, what can we do with $1 trillion? We could do all kinds of humanitarian things in this country. We could give kids the absolute best education that anybody in any civilization has ever received. We could end homelessness. We could with $1 trillion, we could absolutely solve our healthcare issues in this country. I'm not saying free health. I'm not going there. I'm just saying that there's a problem with healthcare in this country. Old people die alone, sad and sickly and in pain all the time. There's a problem. Greatest country in the world. Greatest society the world has ever generated. That's what we are, the United States of America. We can't have old people dying alone in their own piss on the floor of their cat food apartment, right? We can't. That's come on. That's beneath us. So $1 trillion, we could do that. Anyway, the budget is going up to $1 trillion and everybody's like, so be it. Here's the problem. Here's why it's going up to $1 trillion. Because a whole bunch of our congressmen are refusing to drop projects that are not needed anymore. And that's what this story's about. This is why it's going to hit $1 trillion. There are congressmen who will not allow certain projects to be struck because those projects are maybe being developed or researched or even built and manufactured in their districts. So they basically need to keep those welfare jobs going. So we're going to have $1 trillion defense budget, and we're going to be cranking shit out on a daily basis that we do not need, that is no longer modern as far as its tech. We're just going to keep cranking that stuff. Oh, there's another thing in this article that says that there was one instance of a guidance system that is built in Alabama, a guidance system. That, by the way, did you know that they do all this rocket stuff in Alabama? I didn't know. Anyway, it's a missile guidance system that is built in Alabama. And it worked like in 1998. It was like, but this plant was built and designed to specifically create this piece of equipment. Now, a number of years ago, the military said, we're moving away from this guidance system and we're going with a different guidance system. Do you guys want to retrofit your machinery so that you can make the new guidance systems that we need? And do you know what they said at the private defense company? They said, no, we have a contract. That's going to cost us money to make what you actually want. We're going to keep making what you don't need anymore, and we're going to keep cashing those fat defense checks. That's what's wrong. That's what's wrong. So think about that. Think about that bullshit. Why? Because they like the situation the way they have it. So they're just going to keep cranking out a guidance system that is no longer useful. But we got them. There's a warehouse somewhere, probably the size of 15 football fields, just filled with boxes of these guidance systems that nobody are ever going to use. But get mad again the next time you drive by a bunch of homeless people. Get mad at that. Get mad, because we could end that with the guidance system problem. You go back to your parks. You can go back to your parks on a Sunday and not have to worry about some crackhead or something. Or we can just let them keep building the guide. I'm telling you, man, the whole system is jacked up. Houston Independent School District isn't going to make you feel any better about the system being jacked up. The Texas Education Agency, which is an agency based out of Austin. The Texas Education Agency has walked on into the Houston Independent School District, fired everybody, and said that this is now Governor Abbott's school board or whatever. Texas Education Agency has taken over the day-to-day management of the Houston school system. Texas Education Agency will take control of Houston ISD. This will take effect officially in June. The announcement comes almost 4 years after the agency first moved to take the district over. So here is basically what this is about. Okay, so the Texas Education Agency is Austin-based and controlled by the very, very Republican, very, very right-wing, part of the Texas legislature. It's like the main part. But Houston is a Democratic city. Houston and the Houston School Board, those are all elected officials. People in the community elect them. So you see the problem that we have now. You have people from Austin who do not have the same values or ideals or ideologies, maybe, of the others. See, it's problematic because school board people are elected by those in the community, right? So the community in Houston elected these people. Do they suck? Maybe. Quite possibly they suck. But guess what? We the people. That's on us. Same thing with George Santos. Keep saying, you want George Santos to step down? Shut up. You should have exposed all of this stuff before people were casting their votes. Because people voted for him. People bought his bullshit. People elected the school board down there in Houston in a very lefty blue area. And now the red state government is coming to, I'll tell you, man. For people who talk a lot about freedom and liberty and, the limitations of big government and how they can affect. Yeah, this is some big government bullshit. This is some overreach where the state is coming in here. So anyway, I don't know, maybe it's for the better. I do not know enough about this story. I don't have kids in the Houston school district. I imagine it's a piece of shit school district. Most big city school districts are. But this is being framed as being overtly political. Like they're coming down there and we're going to get rid of that. What do they call it? What's the thing that everybody's all ginned up over? What is it called? Critical race theory. That's what it is, right? Yeah, they're going to get down and get rid of that critical race theory. Whatever. All right. I don't have kids in Houston. Neither do you. So if you don't have kids in the Houston ISD, butt out of this one. Butt out of this one. Is that your business? Idaho. You up there in Idaho watching Fox News this afternoon. By the way, do we have an announcement on Aaron Rodgers? Did we get an Aaron Rodgers announcement? Let's see here. Hold on. Welcome. All right, so apparently Aaron Rodgers Green Bay Press Gazette, 16 seconds ago. Aaron Rodgers says that he intends to play for the New York Jets next season during an appearance on the Pat McAfee Show. So there you have it. Let's see here. Let's see what the story is. Aaron Rodgers says he intends to play for the New York Jets next season during an appearance on the Pat McAfee Show. We were monitoring that here at the start of our show, but had to do our thing. The Aaron Rodgers era in Green Bay is almost over. Can we remove the almost? Can we get him the fuck out of the North? Can we get him out of here? I mean, I'd have liked him to have gotten out of here 5 years ago, but whatever. The Aaron Rodgers era in Green Bay is almost over. A new era for the four-time MVP will begin in New York soon. Rodgers confirmed it all Wednesday afternoon on the Pat McAfee Show, telling the host that after long contemplation and a meeting with Jets officials, since Friday, my decision was to play, and to play for the New York Football Jets. However, Rodgers said that no deal has been made and that the Packers are digging in there. Packers don't want him back. The Packers are like, Aaron, I know you're going around saying that your choices are play for the Jets, retire, or return to Green Bay. I know you're saying that, but you got to stop saying you're going to return to Green Bay, Aaron. That's not going to happen. We don't want you. We got Jordan Love. We don't want you back here, Aaron. So they don't want him. However, Rodgers said that no deal has been made and that the Packers are digging in their heels, referring to what compensation it would take from the Jets to acquire him in a trade. Rodgers said he came on the McAfee Show not to say he was making a decision to return, but to just explain where things stood. He said his decision to return were days past that. Okay, so I guess if you're watching the Aaron Rodgers drama, then the big question was, is he going to retire? No, he's not going to retire. So now he's got to play for the Jets or somebody else, because it is clear that the Green Bay Packers just want this to be over. They just want him to be gone. They're looking at Jordan Love going, we got to find out if we got something in this kid. I mean, we drafted him for a reason. All right, so there you have it. All right. There you go. What else do we got here? Here's a fun one. Down there in South Carolina, we don't like to get into the whole abortion thing, but sometimes when these crazy people get their wildly extreme. So South Carolina women who get abortions could face the death penalty under a proposed bill in South Carolina. So it's not the death part. It's not the taking of life that you have an issue with, right? That kind of gets established. Right? If your punishment for taking the life of your unborn child is that the state is then going to execute you, do you see how there's like a problem there? That's not smooth. That doesn't seem to make any real logical sense. I don't know. Let's see what it says here. Women who get an abortion in South Carolina could face the death penalty if a proposal at the state. So what? Will they save the baby first, though? That's what we got to make sure that after they force. No, she will have aborted the baby. So she aborted the baby, and then because of that, they kill her. Man, that is some primate shit, right? That is like because you killed the baby, now we kill you. Man, that doesn't make me feel good. A bill in the South Carolina House called the South Carolina Prenatal Equal Protection Act would afford equal protection of all laws to all preborn children from the moment of fertilization, and reclassify any act that ends a pregnancy as willful prenatal homicide, punishable by the death penalty in the state of South Carolina. Woo, we are through the looking glass, people. UFOs. That's right, UFOs are trending. Why? Here's a story I've been wanting to talk about for a while. This story broke a couple of weeks back. We've been teasing it on the nighttime show. This story first broke around the time that we remember a few weeks ago when we were all UFO crazy because of like spy balloons and stuff like that. So in all the hubbub about what was it, they won't say if it's alien. So in all the hubbub that surrounded that 10-day experience that we all went through, there was one story that snuck through that got a little bit of play, but people didn't really glom onto it. And it was an admission by the U.S. government that we have a new program that was established in 2022 to study UFOs. We have a secret Pentagon-based 2022 origin UFO research thing that for the first time in United States and Pentagon and defense history is actually taking this seriously. Not like the old X-Files. Remember we had in real life there was Operation Blue Book? Was it Blue Book? Yeah. Was it Blue Book or Black Book? Why am I confused? Anyway, they were very small and they were derided in their purpose. The original UFO investigative units that the American government had, their entire purpose was to discredit what people saw. The entire purpose of these organizations in the 1940s and the 1950s between, say, Roswell and, just recent times, the purpose of these government groups were to come up with an explanation that wasn't alien, right? So disingenuous organizations. So a couple of weeks back, it was revealed that we actually have a sincere government investigative body now that is looking into all of these things. And that was revealed during the hubbub. Now comes this story today. Pentagon issues official warning. Now this is written a bit tabloid-esque. So the headline screams a lot scarier and more fascinating than the actual story. Pentagon issues official warning over alien mothership UFO sending probes to Earth. That's the headline. Pentagon issues official warning over alien mothership UFO sending probes to Earth. Probes in the form of unidentified flying objects could be being sent. Could be. See, now they're starting to add a little bit more flavor to the story. Probes in the form of unidentified flying objects could be sent to Earth by an alien mothership in a similar style to how NASA uses smaller ships to explore other planets in the solar system. An alien mothership could be in our solar system and sending probes to the Earth, Pentagon officials have warned. The U.S. intelligence hub at the Pentagon has claimed that smaller probes could be used in a similar way as to how NASA uses probes now. A report focusing on the restraints and unidentified aerial phenomena noted how a parent craft could send down smaller probes to Earth. It was written by the Pentagon's. Now, here's the new organization, okay? This doesn't really roll off the tongue. It's called the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. It's the AARO. That is the new official Pentagon and defense organization that deals with UFOs. And you know they're serious because it ain't a catchy name. They ain't trying to make this name catch on with the average person on the street, okay? It is the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. The report was written by the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, and the chairman of it was written by Sean Kirkpatrick, who's the chairman of that department, and Harvard University Astronomy Department Chair Abraham Loeb, who warned of the possibility of a big ship being out there. All right. So it's a fun story. In the headline, if you're just glossing over it and you want to believe that there's experts saying that there is a UFO up there, you could probably gloss over that story and go, experts are saying there's a UFO parent ship. That's not what they're saying. See, when you actually read the story, which is why I love that new feature on Twitter, where whenever you want to retweet a story based on the headline, it says, do you maybe want to read the story first? Like it does that now. I love that. Anyway, when you read the story, what you learn is that this report that was written by this very official government organization was just spitballing hundreds of ideas that could possibly be something that we should be thinking about. And then a newspaper gets a hold of it and goes, Pentagon says there's a mothership. That's what they said hypothetically in the report. But you need to read the actual article to get to the little part where it says it was a hypothetical report. But that's okay. That's okay because the stupid people will be ginned up by it. And the stupid people will be running around going, Pentagon says there's a mothership sending probes down to Earth. And that's fun. That's why stupid people are fun. UFOs, we got Tarantino. All right, we got Tarantino. Let's talk a little Quentin Tarantino, shall we? We already talked about Lawrence Tierney. Lawrence Tierney celebrating a birthday today. Joe Cabot, Big Joe from Reservoir Dogs. Colorful man. Been dead a long time, but still colorful, Lawrence Tierney. Tarantino is trending because apparently Tarantino, this is such bullshit, Tarantino has announced that he's making his final film. I'm done making films, and I'm going to work on my magnum opus, my swan song, if you will, my greatest work ever. So that's what he's announced. So he's currently developing what Quentin Tarantino says will be my final film. Quentin Tarantino sounds nothing like that. I don't know why I used that affectation, but I love Tarantino. I think Tarantino is great. Tarantino is a top 5 film director for me. I love everything Tarantino has ever done. Sometimes he gets a little self-indulgent. Like I'll tell you what my favorite Tarantino thing is? Like, all directors have their little idiosyncrasies, their little things that you go, oh, that's a Kubrick movie, or Hitchcock. There we go. Nobody does the extended driving scene like Tarantino. Oh, he is so good at it doesn't matter what movie you're watching. Almost every Quentin Tarantino movie has a scene where one of his lead characters is in a car, and it's almost always a 1970s car. It's almost always like a piece of shit kind of older car. So every Tarantino movie has this scene where someone is driving in their car, maybe across an entire city, and it's edited to show the distance that they're traveling. And it's always no dialogue at all. Just the actor, just driving, windows are down. He's usually driving a little bit reckless, but not so reckless that you're like, oh, there's a car chase going on. No, just like, oh, that guy's kind of a dirtbag, because Quentin Tarantino characters are dirtbags who probably don't use their turn signals. So there are these scenes, and there's no dialogue, and it's just driving, and they're almost always for a minimum of 3 minutes, and there's music. There's like some kind of like 1970s one-hit wonder song. That is the Quentin Tarantino thing that gives me a little chub. Every time I see a Quentin Tarantino movie, I go, where's the driving scene going to be? I don't think there was a driving scene in the Kill Bills, though. And I also don't think that there was a driving scene in The Hateful Eight. But what I'm saying is it's a device that he likes to use, and he does it better than anyone else. So this new movie that Tarantino is doing, his final film he's announced, it is believed to be, it's called The Film Critic, okay? It's called The Film Critic. It is set in the late 1970s in Hollywood, California. So it's a sort of a return to his Once Upon a Time in Hollywood vibe that he was going with. Just a few years later, like 8 years later, it would be an incredible thing to see Rick Dalton in this new one. Like, just have Leonardo DiCaprio or Cliff Booth, just even in the background, just if they could walk through in the background. Leonardo DiCaprio, and because Cliff Booth and Rick Dalton in 1978 Los Angeles, they would still be around. They would still be working. Anyway, let's get back to it. So Quentin Tarantino's final film is called The Film Critic, and it is believed to be a story based on Pauline Kael. Pauline Kael was a film critic for The New Yorker. She's very powerful film critic in the 1970s and 1980s. Pauline Kael, for a period of time, and I believe that this is what the premise of the new Quentin Tarantino movie is. Pauline Kael was so highly respected as a film critic that for a period of time in the late 1970s, she was moved from New York to Los Angeles to become like some executive consultant with Paramount. So she was basically put in charge, as a critic, she was basically put in charge of, whatever content was being created by Paramount at the time. And that story, the knowledge of that Pauline Kael Hollywood story of how the time she took over a studio, and the timeline that Quentin Tarantino has said, and that it's called The Critic, and that Tarantino has said it will star a woman. The Critic is a woman. Everyone's going, oh, he's making a Pauline Kael movie. Oh, Quentin Tarantino's final film is going to be a Pauline Kael movie. It should also be noted that Quentin Tarantino himself is a massive Pauline Kael fan. So this isn't going to be Quentin Tarantino, the auteur, sort of, dropping his daggers into the entire film criticism industry. Because quite frankly, the entire film criticism industry has been very kind to Quentin Tarantino, right? So this is more, he appreciates Pauline Kael. He loved Pauline Kael. He says Pauline Kael gave him his first really good review back, when he was a struggling young independent filmmaker. So whatever this film is, it will probably turn Pauline Kael into a badass. But anyway, there you go. Tarantino, that's why he's trending. Ryan Reynolds is trending, right? Can we all just talk about Ryan Reynolds? Really? He's like Paul Rudd with... He's Paul Rudd with like money. He's not that Paul Rudd doesn't have money. Paul Rudd's got Hollywood money. Paul Rudd's got like success for Hollywood actor money. Got a nice house. That's not money. Like there's like successful Hollywood actors still have to go begging to producers and studio there's bigger money out there, right? So that's Paul Rudd. Ryan Reynolds, man. Ryan Reynolds getting that Ashton Kutcher money. Yeah, Ashton Kutcher. He's another one of these guys, Mr. Investor, Mr. Anyway, Ryan Reynolds. Remember how he started? What does Ryan Reynolds have? First of all, he's got his own amazingly popular brand in the Marvel Universe, right? So he's got that to lean on. Then he's got an otherwise very successful film career. So he's an actor. But then also, he owns like a major tequila bottling company in Mexico. Not a brand. Like these idiot Instagrammers are like, this is my new tequila brand. No, Ryan Reynolds doesn't own a brand. Ryan Reynolds owns the bottling plant where all these idiots have to get their, you know what I mean? So he's like thinking on a different, Mint Mobile, remember? Ryan Reynolds, he started his own mobile phone service, Mint Mobile. And Ryan Reynolds is like, well, I'm Ryan Reynolds and I'm really freaking popular. Maybe I'll just do the TV commercials for Mint Mobile and people will be like, hey, let's pay attention to this because that's a major movie star doing a TV. He was genius. He did the commercials for Mint Mobile. Hi, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Buy my phone. Why wouldn't you if you like Ryan Reynolds? Seems like a nice guy. Bought a soccer team over in England or Wales or whatever. I don't know. Ryan Reynolds is killing it. Ryan Reynolds, President of the United States. He's Canadian. He can't be. He's Canadian. So why is he trending? He's trending because he just sold. Yesterday, he sold Mint Mobile, the phone company that I was telling you about. Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. Buy my phone. He just sold his phone company yesterday, Ryan Reynolds, for $1.35 billion to T-Mobile. T-Mobile. Mint Mobile, started by Ryan Reynolds in his garage, just sold for $1.35 billion to T-Mobile. Ryan Reynolds had a typically Ryan Reynolds response to the breaking of the news. Ryan Reynolds said, "We are so happy T-Mobile beat out an aggressive last-minute bid from my mom, Tammy Reynolds, as we believe the excellence of their 5G network will provide a better strategic fit than my mom's slightly above-average mahjong skills." Look at him. Of course he's joking. He just made $1.35 billion on a phone company he owned for like 9 months. I love Ryan Reynolds. I love him. That dude is making it. Good for him. Let's see here. Ted Lasso is trending. Ted Lasso. Don't even know if I like Ted Lasso anymore. Don't even know. It's been too long. It's been way too long. And now they're like, this is the last season. You're not going to get any more. I know we've made you wait like a year and a half. I don't know. It seems like it's been a long time. And now we're going to give you this, but this is all it's like being cut off from your drug dealer. It's like the Ted Lasso drug dealer people are like, all right, here's your last fix, and then you're never getting any more. I'm like angry at Ted Lasso. I'm angry. The show's so wonderful. Although Jason Sudeikis went through some shit in the first season. Like in real life, like off screen, Jason Sudeikis his wife left him for Harry Styles. And he just created the most magnificent single season of situation comedy I've ever seen. Completely transformed the whole genre of situation comedy with the way Ted Lasso did their 30-minute show. Terrific. And then second season was good. And then the second season left us with all of a sudden Nate's a bad guy. So now I got to hate Nate. Didn't want to hate Nate. Now I hate Nate. Anyway, Ted Lasso's trending because new season, episode 1, dropped today, I guess. I don't know. Is it on Apple now? I don't know. Whatever. Everybody's Ted Lasso. Here's the thing about Ted Lasso, season 3, episode 1. I ain't watching season. I got to wait now like 10 weeks because I refuse to watch one episode at a time. I refuse. I'm not going to do it. Lindsay Lohan is trending. Lindsay Lohan is having a baby. She's 36 years old. Lindsay Lohan is having her first baby. Seems to be settling down a little bit. I mean, I don't know. It feels like just like 2 years ago, there was like footage of her stumbling around Moscow at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Do you remember that? It was a while ago, though. It was like the last time we went, oh, Lindsay Lohan's back into it. Yeah, there was like all of this surveillance footage. It was going back a couple of years. But it was like years after she was already train wreck Lindsay Lohan, and then she disappeared for a while. And like a couple of years ago, she was dating some dude, some like probably some international arms dealer type situation. She's dating some dude, and like all of these like surveillance cameras caught Lindsay Lohan walking down the streets of Moscow, Russia, like in the middle of the night, stumbling and falling, and I don't know. Anyway, she's having a baby. She's having a baby at 36 years old. She's married now to someone described as a global financier. Imagine that. Okay, seriously. So you're a dude. You are a global financier. So you got your shit together, right? You could be with probably got your pick of ladies. You marry Lindsay Lohan? I mean, no offense. I think she's an immensely talented woman as an actress and as a performer. And I think that there's an upside and she hasn't reached her ceiling yet as far as a career. So let's just be patient with this one. But you're going to marry Lindsay Lohan? like, hey, I want you to meet my wife, Lindsay Lohan. Every single one of your friends is going to be like, oh, this is going to be messy. This is all right. We'll go to the wedding because it's probably going to be a baller wedding. But this is not going to be good. This is not going to last. Anyway, she's having herself a baby. Baby. Cowboys are trending. How about them Cowboys? Dallas Cowboys are trending. Ezekiel Elliott is probably going to... Did he already get cut? Did they cut him? Whatever. That's the problem. Zeke Elliott getting cut. Today may be Ezekiel Elliott's last day as a Dallas Cowboy. The Cowboys are set to part ways with Elliott and a new team. Preparing is interesting. Okay. The Cowboys are set to part ways with Elliott, and he is preparing to find a new team. See, because it's interesting the way that word would be used as it applies to the Cowboys. Are the Cowboys prepared to part ways with Ezekiel Elliott, or are the Cowboys preparing to cut ways or cut ties with Ezekiel? Because those are two very different meanings. Preparing means, yeah, we're not cutting him, but we are ready should it come to that. And, that's prepared. That's being prepared. Preparing to cut him means we're getting the paperwork in order. We've made the decision and he's gone. So I don't know. I don't know where he goes. The running back position to me is so funny. The running back position to me as an NFL fan, it used to be the most important position. It really did. I mean, your quarterback was your team leader, your captain, but the best player on the team, like in the 70s and stuff, was always your baller running back. Running backs are like big lighters now in the NFL. They are disposable. I'll tell you, if you've got a kid who's talented at football, don't make him be a running back, because very few running backs are Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley or Dalvin Hill or, Zeke Elliott of 4 years ago. Most running backs come out of nowhere They're 5th, 6th round picks who get run into the ground as rookies. Maybe they win a couple of, league players of the month because nobody can believe that they ran for 170 yards in their second game. Well, but that's what running backs do. Running backs, really, those are all skills that you have already developed. You can plug and play a running back. A running back is just about field of vision, burst of speed, and being able to see the field. Running backs get these rookie contracts, they get run into the ground, and then they get let go. Why? Because teams know that they can pick up another running back out of Tulane, in the 6th round, who they can run into the ground. I feel bad for guys like, look, I love running backs. Walter Payton is my favorite player of all time. I grew up in the era of Billy Sims and Walter Payton and Tony Dorsett. A little bit later, Barry Sanders. I mean, I love the run. Eric Dickerson. Oh, my God. I love the running back. And I loved Zeke. But you can't pay Zeke what Zeke thinks he should be paid. You can't. Not when there's a dude sitting in the 6th round who you can run into the ground, who might only be good for 15 games. But that's okay. He's a 5th rounder. Or you got undrafted free agents coming in here, man. You can have all I'm saying is that the way football values certain positions has really radically changed since I was a kid. When I was a kid, middle linebacker and especially what we would call the Mike linebacker, the Mike and the running back, they were two of the most important positions in football. And now they're absolute garbage positions. Nobody cares about middle linebackers. Nobody cares about running backs. You got to be an edge rusher. You got to be a 3 technique. You got to be a corner. You got to be a wide receiver. You got to be a quarterback, or you got to be a left tackle. And that's it. Those are the only premium positions left in the NFL. So guys like Zeke Elliott, I don't know where he goes. He ain't going to make Zeke money. Zeke expects, Zeke money. But what was his average last year? Wasn't great, right? Wasn't like 3 yards, I guess. Anyway, also more Cowboy news. This is a nice addition. A nice addition at a premium position. Cowboys acquired the services of Stephon Gilmore from the Indianapolis Colts. What are the Colts doing? Are the Colts pulling everything down to the studs? What's happening with the Colts? Interesting that the Cowboys were able to acquire the services of Stephon Gilmore. Prince Andrew is trending. Prince Andrew. That's right, Prince Andrew. He's the sketchy pedophile prince over there in England. He is the middle child of Queen Elizabeth. Prince Andrew has been pretty good. He's been keeping his mouth shut. He stepped back from royal duties. He embarrassed the family. He's doing everything that they say. They're making him live in Harry and Meghan's cottage, which he doesn't like because it's too small, and he's Prince Andrew. Anyway, Prince Andrew has pretty much stopped being good. He's done with it. His brother Charles is the king now, and doesn't have to kowtow to mommy and all that. And remember when Prince Andrew, man, he has no self-awareness. Do you remember when Prince Andrew agreed to sit down with the BBC and talk all about this situation with Jeffrey Epstein? And everyone was like, "No, don't do it. Don't do it." And he was like, "I'll do it. I'm Prince Andrew. I'm really smart. These are stupid journalists. I can kill them." And then he gets on TV and he completely shits the bed. And it was like the worst thing for the royal family. And they're like, "Oh my God, why did you go on and answer those questions? You sound like an idiot." So anyway, he's doing it again. Now he's writing a memoir. And they're saying that everybody in the whole family is going to be upset. Prince Andrew may have to write a memoir in order to bolster his ailing finances. He's also broke. They're kind of cutting him off. They got him on. But what's broke for Prince Andrew? You know what I mean? Prince Andrew may have to write a memoir in order to bolster his ailing finances, a friend of the prince has told the Daily Beast. This following reports that he was left out of the Queen's will. Ow! Left out of the Queen's will. Holy shit, that is a parting gift from Mama on her way out the door. Nothing for you, creepy, weird sex son. Anyway, that's why Prince Andrew is trending. Prince Andrew is trending today. What else is trending today? David Geffen is trending. David Geffen is trending because he's getting married. David Geffen getting married. Good for David Geffen. I don't know if he was ever married before, but here, I'll show you the happy couple. David Geffen, one of the most powerful men in the entertainment industry over the course of the last 40 years. A true baller, one of the first music industry billionaires. Did you know that? David Geffen was, I believe he was the first music industry billionaire, achieving that at some point in the 1980s. Here they are. Here's the happy couple. That's David Geffen. Here, we'll show it to you right here. All right, there you go. That's David Geffen, who is like 90, and his new husband, some 31-year-old MMA bodybuilder guy. That's all I can think of is, does David Geffen get ragdolled? I mean, think about it. He's like, it looks like he's in good shape. I mean, I guess it's easy to look like you're in good shape if you're like a million years old and you have $1 billion. So, you know, he looks like they're on a boat. I don't know if he's being held up. Man, all I can think about is like David Geffen's got this like young, beefy boy toy now. Why not, man? Why not? Hey, you got all the spoils of war from a life of doing battle. You're old. It's no different than like, you know, that J. Howard Hunt dude hooking up with Anna Nicole Smith in his last. There's nothing wrong with that. And there ain't. I truly don't feel there's anything wrong with that. If you're like a 90-year-old dude and you're on your way out and death is looming, live your life, friend. Live your life. But she didn't love him. Oh, poor child. Are you under the impression that he thought that she loved him? Is that why you're concerned about this nuptial between Anna Nicole Smith and the old man? Because she's taking advantage. She ain't taking it. That's J. Howard Hunt, motherfucker. That dude has been taking advantage of. How do you think he got to be a billionaire? You think she's taking advantage of him? Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Let's jump over to Twitter. Let's see what's trending. Let's see if we've got anything new that we can report on. Well, let me see. Aaron Rodgers is trending. Okay, so that's a thing. We talked about that. Aaron Rodgers. Judy. Why is Jerry Jeudy trending? They're not getting rid of him. Okay, the Patriots have called the Cardinals about trading for wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, and the Broncos about trading for wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. Okay, never mind. I will not bore you with what will be probably the next 7 hours of my day. Actually, that's not true. I have a meeting at 4:30, so I have to be out of here by at least 4. Let's figure that out. So that's going to be 2 straight hours now of me going deep into NFL free agency because, yeah, I'm a weirdo. And I'm super obsessed with it. Guys, I think that's going to do it for today's show. Appreciate you joining us here on the noon stream. We do it every Monday through Friday. High noon with me, Pugs Moran. Come one, come all. Help the show out if you can. I sure would appreciate that. That's a thing that we rely on your kindnesses, your generosities, your tips. Hold on. Yeah, so you can tip us here. I'll put the tip thing up. Sorry, I just got a text from the pool guy, so I want to make sure that we got a pool guy. He comes, he cleans the pool out there, and we got a dog that wants to kill him. So when the pool guy comes, we have to make sure. Where is the dog? CeeLo. Yeah, there she is. Okay, I just needed to make sure she was in the other room. Excuse me. All right, so tip the show if you can. We'd appreciate it. We've gotten like we're not getting tipped. Okay, the show is no longer working in the way that it had for a period of time. So anything you guys can do, that would be great. Help us out. I'm not going to keep pushing it. We can't. I don't want to be that guy. I hate that we have to do it this way, but. What else do I need? Tonight at 9 o'clock. Come join us at 9 o'clock tonight for Pugs and Parker. That's right, another 1-hour stream, conversational chemistry. Pugs and Parker chopping it up every Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m., right here on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. Let me see. What do I have? Here we go. Yeah. Pool guy's here, so the dog is now out. The dog is... There ain't nothing wrong with the rain. Oh, this is a different song. Sometimes I listen to that John Hinckley song because after the show ends, the Spotify play will play right into the next song, and it's that one. And I have to tell you, I think I kind of have a warm spot in my heart for Something Wrong with the Rain from John Hinckley. It's a pretty song.
There ain't nothing wrong with the rain.
Pretty song from a man who tried to murder a president. We all know what the closing theme is. There we go. That's right. Never Ending Quest, John Hinckley.
I've got my poetry.
John Hinckley singing about life being a never-ending quest. And sure, you might make a little mistake, a little tiny mistake, a little something that you'll spend the rest of your life trying to live down, like, oh, I don't know, trying to assassinate a president of the United States. Things happen. It's on a never-ending quest. That's what life is. Don't let your attempted assassination of world leaders define you. Define you. Define you. All right, I gotta go. Crazy. Love you guys. See you tonight at 9 o'clock. Bye.
Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet